Bill Belichick has shopped Mac Jones this offseason. Things aren't going well between Patriots coach Bill Belichick and quarterback Mac Jones. Belichick has shopped Jones to multiple teams during the 2023 offseason.
I know that I have a ways to go in regards to re-earning your guys' trust whenever it comes to discussing the starting quarterback of the New England Patriots. But as you can see on the date of the upload of this video, this isn't an April Fool's prank. This is just a wild coincidence. Things are not going well in New England, and we have multiple sources discussing it. So this is absolutely wild, and we have a lot to talk about. Before we get to the content, when Aaron Rodgers finally gets traded to the New York Jets, we're going to be giving multiple of our followers that retweet the tweet in front of you $120 each. As a matter of fact, I might need to run a different giveaway while I wait for that to become fulfilled. This is getting ridiculous. I thought this trade would happen like 3 weeks ago. And now that we get all that out of the way, some of the green slips you guys have been sending me is crazy. Like $1,250 off of a $250 slip, or $1,500 off of a $150 power play. We've been making bank off of our basketball picks, bro. March Madness was a huge success, and believe me, we're about to ramp it up for the NBA playoffs. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use my promo code Mikerophone, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 instantly. After that, just follow me on Instagram. I post all of my picks onto my Instagram story for free, and we can start making money off of these picks together. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The post-Tom Brady era for the New England Patriots hasn't been going exactly as planned, if we're being honest. And originally in year one, I thought the New England Patriots were being very shrewd in regards to their plan post-Tom Brady. Okay, Tom Brady's moving on from the team. Why not bring in a former MVP in the form of Cam Newton and try to build an offense around him? Obviously that didn't work out, but I have to admit it was one of Cam Newton's more efficient seasons. And to be honest, it was very fun to watch Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick work with the scrambling QB for the first time in their careers. Although the results were kind of mixed, Cam Newton threw more interceptions than touchdowns, but he did have a 66% completion percentage, and it was clear that his best years of football were way behind him. Then in the offseason, Bill Belichick apparently got his dream prospect. If you guys remember, during the 2021 offseason, many of us were projecting that Mac Jones will fall to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots just because it made sense. Mac Jones possessed a lot of the same traits coming out of Alabama as Tom Brady did. At least his best qualities were. For example, his processing speed and the ability of him quickly moving through his progressions were compared to Tom Brady. That seems like something that Bill Belichick would covet in a quarterback. We're not calling him the next coming of Tom Brady, but the brand of football he plays was kind of similar, and we're just going to leave it at that. Of course, there's going to be someone in the comment section that thinks that I called Mac Jones the next coming of Tom Brady, but I'm okay with that. You can see my dog isn't really fond of that take either. Okay. I honestly think Bill Belichick's first choice was Justin Fields, but again, this just made so much sense. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are really good friends. They coach together for quite some time. They run very similar types of football programs, at least in the sense that they're very strict, as opposed to the more lax approach to football that you're seeing becoming a trend in today's game in both college football and the NFL. So in my head, I thought from an intangible standpoint, this made a lot of sense. Mac Jones to the New England Patriots, and it inevitably happened. Once Mac Jones became the New England Patriots quarterback, I felt like Bill Belichick finally got everything he wanted. I mean, you have to understand, Bill Belichick has been waiting to move on from Tom Brady for a very long time. At one point in 2014, even asking him why he shouldn't trade him. Check it out.
Belichick called us in and said, okay, tell me why I shouldn't trade Tom Brady. I think Brady was 37, 36.
Throughout the Bill Belichick era, he drafted multiple successors to Tom Brady, whether it was in the form of Ryan Mallett, Jimmy Garoppolo, or Jarrett Stidham. Obviously, Tom Brady pushed the boundaries of father time, but finally, Bill Belichick was able to get what he wanted. A first-round rookie quarterback that he was able to select. He was able to handpick by himself for the very first time in his career. That man was Mac Jones. And to be honest, in year one, Mac Jones was very solid for a quarterback. As a matter of fact, you could go as far as to say that he was the best quarterback in the 2021 NFL draft in his rookie year, throwing 22 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, completing 68% of his passes, and even leading the New England Patriots to an appearance in the playoffs. Although they didn't go really far, that's a hell of a rookie year to have, considering the fact that he didn't really have the greatest supporting cast. Who was his best wide receiver? Jacoby Myers? Nelson Aguilar? You get my point. See, last offseason was when things started to go south for the New England Patriots, when Josh McDaniels officially decided that he was going to move on from being the longtime offensive coordinator to the New England Patriots to ruin a brand new franchise. It's been over 10 years and he felt like it was time to go ahead and ruin the Las Vegas Raiders. So once Josh McDaniels left, there was a huge void open at the offensive coordinator position. A man that Bill Belichick trusted very much so for a large portion of the past decade was officially gone. Now there was a void to fill. How was he going to fill it? Common sense would indicate that Bill Belichick would find a highly capable quarterback coach or a protege of his who was young and hungry and demonstrated the attributes that was needed to become a successful offensive coordinator to become his new offensive coordinator. But that's not what Bill Belichick did. He did something that was very strange. He brought back two failed head coaches that were once assistants of his, and they were supposed to collaborate to develop Mac Jones. For those of you guys that don't remember, Matt Patricia, a former defensive coordinator of Bill Belichick that is most notorious for being the defensive coordinator that would lose the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles, which by the way was Tom Brady's most statistically prolific Super Bowl. Yes, check out his statistics. His most prolific Super Bowl was a loss against a team that had their second string quarterback in. And Matt Patricia is widely credited for the fact that the Patriots weren't able to win that Super Bowl. But regardless, he would get a job with the Detroit Lions. It wouldn't necessarily work out. And then slowly but surely, he would come crawling back to Bill Belichick for a job. The problem is that Bill Belichick officially moved on from Matt Patricia, trying to develop his son Steve Belichick as the next defensive coordinator. You see, Bill Belichick is primarily a defensive-minded coach, so it makes sense that he would want to pass his knowledge off to his son to carry the torch moving forward. So Bill Belichick essentially had Joe Judge, who got fired by the New York Giants, who formerly was Bill Belichick's special teams coach, and Matt Patricia, who was his former defensive coordinator, both come back to the New England Patriots. And they didn't really have a job, but Bill Belichick just knew he wanted them around. So he decided to tell these two human beings that had no experience throughout their entire careers as coaches, coaching offense, except for Joe Judge in 2019. He was the special teams coordinator and the wide receiver coach for the New England Patriots. These two human beings were tasked with collaborating to develop Mac Jones in year two. So Mr. Miyagi is gone in the form of Josh McDaniels, and in comes two coaches that recently were fired by their teams that are known to be very difficult to get along with, by the way, who are in charge of developing Mac Jones for year two. Now, throughout the season, you would see Mac Jones' frustration, and it's not like Mac Jones actually had additional talent on the field to make his life any easier. It was more or less the same exact supporting cast. You had Kendrick Bourne, you had Jacoby Myers, you had Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, and throughout the year, you would see Mac Jones' frustration on the field. At times, he would even scream about the plays that were called. That, coupled with the fact that Bailey Zappi was consistently being rotated in with him, drove Mac Jones to a breaking point. According to Mark Daniels of Massachusetts Live Boston, New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones' frustrations grew as the year went on. The quarterback and other offensive players saw issues with newly turned offensive coordinator Matt Patricia and QB coach Joe Judge as early as OTAs. Those off-season issues continued throughout the regular season. This is where it gets a little ugly. It's not like we're only getting one report about this. It's not like this is something that's necessarily new. We even have video footage showing how frustrated Mac Jones was throughout the season. But that wasn't the only indicator of how frustrated Mac Jones was throughout the season. As a matter of fact, things got so bad at a specific point that Mac Jones actually reached out to his college team, Alabama, and tried to get help from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, you have to bear in mind, the coaching staff of the Alabama Crimson Tide is very, very close friends with Bill Belichick. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick worked together at a particular point. Bill O'Brien, who was the offensive coordinator of Alabama at the time, was once the offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick and is currently the offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick. And this apparently really pissed off Bill Belichick. He felt like he was being undermined. You don't believe me? Check it out.
Going outside the building for counsel as to, is this the way we're supposed to be doing this? That really pissed Bill off. How well are they going to be able to bury the hatchet on Mac's perceived and presumed disloyalty in doing that?
But at the same time, could you really blame Mac Jones? Because he's not necessarily being set up for success. It's not like the offense improved at any point. His coaching definitely regressed. And these are the human beings that are tasked with developing him at this point. Now, a huge question about Mac Jones currently has been what his future's looking like. And for the most part, things have been very vague. I mean, you had Robert Kraft saying this.
I think bringing in Bill O'Brien, I think will work to his advantage, and I'm very positive and hopeful about this upcoming year, and I personally am a big fan of Mac.
And then you had Bill Belichick on a potential QB controversy between Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones saying this.
Well, everybody get a chance to play the best player.
So it's still kind of a competition.
Everybody will get a chance to play every position. Everybody will get a chance to play. Everybody that's on a roster, if they earn the opportunity to play, then based on what they do in practice and all that, they'll all get an opportunity to play.
So things are a huge mess for the New England Patriots right now. It's very tense between the New England Patriots and Mac Jones. And what doesn't really help the case is the fact that we're getting a report that Bill Belichick has shopped Mac Jones during the offseason. Yes, this is coming to us from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. So according to Mike Florio, following the posting of the item regarding the lingering tension between Coach Belichick and the 2021 first rounder, more info has trickled in. For a source with knowledge of the situation, Belichick has shopped Jones to multiple teams during the 2023 offseason. The full list of potential destinations isn't known. The teams mentioned as potential destinations were the Raiders, Texans, Buccaneers, and Commanders. Obviously, a trade hasn't occurred yet. That doesn't mean it won't happen. A team hoping to draft a quarterback could pivot to Jones if that team doesn't get the guy that it wants. People are joking about how the Raiders might potentially trade for Mac Jones, considering how they signed Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer. They recently hired Danny Amendola. That's news coming to us from today. So a lot of expatriates are currently going to the Las Vegas Raiders. But I want you to forget about that for a second. First things first, if Mac Jones does get traded, what is the plan here? Currently, the New England Patriots hold the 14th pick in the NFL draft. So let's just assume that they trade Mac Jones at this point. Is the plan to trade up into the top 3 and select a quarterback? Is the plan to draft a quarterback that needs to be developed a little bit more? I don't know, maybe like Will Levis or potentially Anthony Richardson. Will Levis is falling out of the top 15 in a lot of mock drafts. I don't necessarily know the spot that Will Levis is going to go in. Speaking of which, let us know if you want us to do any documentaries on any of these quarterback prospects over the next couple of weeks, because it is draft season. But that aside, what is the plan here if you do trade Mac Jones? But trading Mac Jones aside, my next question is this really fair? What are your expectations? I don't think any quarterback would be able to succeed in the conditions that Mac Jones was in. I don't blame him for reaching out to Alabama if what is being suggested is true. And to be honest, I think there's way too much evidence for it not to be true. I mean, you have video evidence of Mac Jones being frustrated throughout the games this past season. Mac Jones clearly regressed a little bit. You've had Devin McCourty come in and say they didn't know if they wanted to go with Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones each and every week based upon how quarterbacks were performing. So I don't think this is very difficult to believe, but at the same time, what do you expect from Mac Jones? What do you think he was going to do? Clearly, his career was trending downward, and we've seen a lot of times in NFL history where a quarterback was mismanaged by a front office or a head coach, and as a result, he washed out of the NFL. A huge percentage of how likely a quarterback is to succeed in the NFL is based upon the team that drafts him and based upon the situations he's placed in. I've said this many times on this channel. I'm a firm believer that if Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Chicago Bears, then there's a chance that he would be a huge draft bust. He was known for being very trigger happy in college. And I think sitting behind Alex Smith for a year learning Andy Reid's offense resulted in Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes, which thank God, because he's so awesome to watch. You make the same argument about Josh Allen. I feel like if Josh Allen was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, they wouldn't know how to develop him properly, and maybe after 2 or 3 seasons they would have moved on from him and traded for Deshaun Watson anyway. And this is just my own personal football philosophy. I think a huge portion of a quarterback's success is the situation that he is placed in. And last season, Mac Jones wasn't set up for success. In year 1, I think he was set up for success, and I do think he's more than capable of being a good quarterback in this league. I truly do. I think he's shown flashes of what a lot of the scouts were saying about his tape coming out of Alabama. He does know how to process defenses very quickly. He does move through his progressions very quickly as well. He doesn't understand how to read defenses, but I think that'll come with it. And the huge reason why the New England Patriots cut Cam Newton before Cam Newton's potential year 2 was because Mac Jones was able to learn the playbook significantly faster than Cam Newton was. I think he has the brain to be a good quarterback in this league, but I don't think any QB would be able to succeed if you brought in Matt Patricia and Joe Judge and made those 2 human beings responsible for your quarterback's development. And I think Mac Jones was smart enough to identify that to the point where he reached out to Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien and said, "Hey, help me! My career is on the line. I might be the next great draft bust because Bill Belichick thinks it's a good idea to have Matt Patricia and Joe Judge coach me." I don't blame him for doing what he did. As a matter of fact, I applaud him for doing what he did. It means he understood that his career was in jeopardy, and to be honest, it is. You're hearing Mac Jones versus Bailey Zappi and QB controversies currently. You're hearing Bill Belichick trying to trade Mac Jones after not being able to succeed in those impossible conditions. At a specific point, I have to admit, I'm a huge fan of Bill Belichick, the coach. I think Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest head coach of our generation. Hell, I don't even think it's arguably. I think he is the greatest head coach of our generation. But a lot of people credit Tom Brady for his success. I'm not going to get into that conversation. I don't blame you guys for feeling that way. I do think he is capable of producing wins as a coach, but I do also think that he might be getting too old to juggle the responsibilities of being a general manager and a head coach. To be honest, I don't necessarily think he was a remarkable general manager to begin with. He's had a lot of misses throughout his career, and some I'm not going to really blame him for, like moving on from Tom Brady at the age of 42. I don't blame you. I mean, what quarterback played until the age of 44 prior to Tom Brady? I don't think anyone has. So I don't blame Bill Belichick for telling Tom Brady 10 years ago that he was planning on trading him at the age of 36, because historically quarterback play falls off around that age, maybe 36 to 39. 39 is remarkable, to be honest. So I'm not going to hold it against him for that. But recently, his draft decisions haven't been on point. His free agency decisions, aside from Matt Judon, I don't necessarily think were great. I mean, Jonnu Smith, they recently let go of. Hunter Henry has been meh. The amount that they paid Nelson Aguilar was ridiculous. And I'm not going to go through all the decisions that Bill Belichick makes and nitpick at them, but I do think the general manager part of his job might be a little bit too much for him to handle at this point. But I know this could be a bold take. Let me know in the comment section down below, especially if you're a Patriots fan. How do you feel about this report? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.